Yeah, good form.
Oh, really? Oh, and they let you up on it?
They did because
I'll let you go.
Yes. Oh, That's just like they got paid. What's going on? Oh, good.
We're going.
I've heard people that had these death stories in school. 10 years later, they're
Good morning. Let's stand and say a quick little prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Hail Mary.
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. This seminar, which we're bringing out today, is being brought to you through the St. Stephen's Catholic Community out of our Safety and Study Facilities Committee. We've been meeting for the last 2.5, 3 years and looking at the safety and security of this campus and have become partners with the Anoka Police Department, who is going to be putting this on. Some time ago, there was a small little town, and in this town was a bar in a corner, and the name of that bar was Max. And Mac was the bartender, he was always there, and everybody went to that bar. They told Max everything about their lives, the good, the bad, what was happening. And one day, all of a sudden, in comes this big horse, and it starts right up to the bar and kicks all of our stools away. Max came running over, and he looks that horse right in the eye, and he says, "Hey, why the long face?" My joke credit up front says, "Pete, you can do better than that." This morning before I came, I decided to do a quick little test. So I fired up my computer. That was after I overslept and my wife called me to wake me up. I went to my email account, and there was several emails there. One that I noticed is, "You have won. We have a gift for you. You have been selected." That was one I was kind of worried about. "And your order is being shipped." You know, I'd be willing to bet that most of you, if you haven't gotten something like that, probably have over the years. We're asking you to do a couple things today. One, throughout the whole campus, if you see something, say something. Don't just sit at home and say, "Oh, I should have done this," or "We could have done that, we could have done that, I don't know what to do." And that's fair, because that does happen. It happens to me, it's to all of you. So if you see something or something's happening to you, particularly as it involves this parish, when you get letters from the priests and from the religious and from all of our people, and it isn't right or it doesn't look right, say something. Give us a call, let us know. This morning I have a great deal of pleasure because the two people that are here have been with us since day one. And they've been guiding us, giving us information, and they've been doing double time. Not only in trying to look throughout the facility to make it safer for all of us, but also the training they've done for our teachers, for our staff, and the training that they're offering to you. And so it's been a great partnership, and I really appreciate it. As they came through the door this morning, I canceled the All Points bulletins to make sure that they got here in time. As you get to know Austin and Nicole, you'll understand they're both really beautiful people, very easy to get along with. They're extremely helpful and knowledgeable. So with that today, it's my pleasure to introduce part of the COPS unit here in the city of Anoka. which stands for the Community Orientating Policing and Problem Solving. Please, if you will, welcome Austin Oren and Nicole Neese.
Can everyone hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay, I've never used one of these, so I gotta get used to it, so. Yes, my name is Officer Austin Oren, and I have the privilege of being one of your Anoka police officers here. I'll let Nicole introduce herself in a minute, but I have the opportunity to be part of our COPS unit, so community-oriented policing and problem solving. We decided we didn't want to say that all the time, so we shortened it to the COPS unit. So we have a lot of different kind of roles that we play. One of our biggest ones is our community outreach. So getting to go do things like this, right? You'll see us at our different community events, cookout with the cop, coffee with the cop, popsicles in the park. That's all from the COPS unit. So I say I have the best job in the department because I get to go out and talk to people all day long. And as Nicole will tell you in just a second, I really like to talk. I've been with the city of Anoka now for just over 5 years. Before that, I was with a small town up north. Anyone know where Starbuck, Minnesota is?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I was with the Starbuck Police Department for 3 years before that. I'm from the area here, so I got to kind of come back home. Got a couple years of experience. Was fortunate enough to be hired by the city of Anoka here, and now here I am. So I'm currently our lead explorer advisor. I'm one of our DARE instructors, and last year I taught DARE here at St. Stephen's at the school. And I also am our department medical officer. So anything AED related, first aid supplies, training, anything like that, that all comes through me. So I wear a lot of hats, but I enjoy all of them. They each come with their own little perks. So I'll let Nicole introduce herself. She doesn't have a microphone, but she's loud. So.
Here's one.
Here, Nicole.
I'm pretty loud. I'm probably the loudest person you know. I'm literally probably the loudest person in the whole department, but, so I usually don't need a microphone. My husband will tell you that too, but, loudest person at home too. Anyways, my name is Nicole. I'm the crime prevention technician, so I'm the only civilian employee in the COPS unit. I'm also the only permanent employee in the COPS unit. So the COPS unit, their positions change over every 3 to 4 years, so I have been through about 5 COPS officers now since I started about 6 years ago. So I always say, like, I'm the OG and I'm the staple of the whole COPS unit. They hold it all together because I'm the only permanent one that's there, but, I've been with them I've been with the city for about 6.5 years, and I guess my main job is coordinating community outreach and education events like this, and I do all the COPS, coffee with cop and cookout with the cop, all of that kind of stuff as well. And so I'm not really new to policing. I was a police reserve, so I volunteered for 5 years prior to working the city of Fridley, where I did records, and then I moved on to Anoka to do crime prevention. So I've been around a while, but I'm old enough to be Austin's mom. And I don't let him forget it either. And he does talk a lot, so if you see me like, you're done, that means he's done. Because he'll be here for 3 hours talking, and you'll all be sleeping by then. So I'll be like, you're all done. Austin, I usually make him set a timer for himself, because he doesn't, he talks too long. But I'll let you guys walk with that. So if you see me like, yeah, you're done, that's because he'll be here till noon at the very latest. So, all right.
Out of all 5 COPS unit partners that she's had, I'm her favorite. So. All right.
I didn't say that. There's a reason I didn't say that.
So we're going to talk a little bit today about some safety. Safety scams. We're going to cover kind of a lot of different topics within that whole safety realm of things. So I'm Austin. Shale is my other partner in the COPS unit. So we have 2 sworn officers, like Nicole said, and then Nicole. So other partner couldn't be here right now, but so we have 3 of us. So we're going to start with calling 911. Anyone called 911 before?
Yeah.
Yeah? Couple? Yeah. Anyone called a non-emergency number before?
Yes.
Couple? Okay. Did you know it goes to the same place?
Yes.
Okay. So, I like to have the saying of, we have partners working day and night all the time, right? But unfortunately, I can't be everywhere at once, okay? I can only be in one spot at one time. So, when we start talking about calling 911, we really want to focus on that residents are really our eyes, right? I can be in my one spot driving around the city. I can drive every street in the city overnight, and not be in the right spot at the right time, right? Because they can't be everywhere at once. So really, residents are truly our eyes and ears in the community. You know what's normal in your neighborhood, right? I can drive through this way.
Oh, a little bit more.
No.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Getting used to this. So I can drive around and drive through neighborhoods every day that I work every shift, right? But I don't know what's normal or what looks off to you in your neighborhood, right? So this is really where we hone in on the, if you see something, say something. If you see something that just doesn't look right, you see a car that you're like, I've never seen that car parked at my neighbor's house. I've never seen this person going door to door, trying all the doors in the neighborhood. You need to be the voice for that, right? So if you see something that's suspicious to you, it's not normal, something looks off, call us. That's why we're here. I have partners that work day and night. Thankfully, I don't have to work night shift anymore. But they're there to come out and check. We get calls all the time of, oh, there's a suspicious person walking through the neighborhood. I just don't know what's going on, right? I can't tell you the number of times we go out, have a conversation with that person. Oh, hey, I'm just door-to-door salesman. Here's my permit. Everything's fine, right? Great. Everything's good. We came out, we checked. I can't tell you how many, on the other hand, times we get, well, you know, I know my neighbor's garage got broken into last night, and there was a car that I thought was a little odd, but I didn't say anything. I didn't call, right? Have that person said, you know, this car driving in and out of my neighbor's driveway, I don't know, something just doesn't look right. Had they called, maybe we could have at least gotten information for someone who was involved in that crime, right? So if you see something that is not normal, something that you would say is suspicious, call, right? So calling 911. When to call 911? If you need help immediately, fire, medical, police response, right? That's when you're gonna call 911. If you're, to report a crime, whether it's in progress or it's happened after the fact, suspicious person vehicles, accidents and fires, and then medical emergencies. So in Anoka County, all of our 911 calls go to the courthouse down in the basement. So we have dispatchers working down there. I think we have a picture of one of their setups here in a second. Phenomenal people. They do a very, very challenging job, I'll tell you that. But that's when you're gonna call 911. So when you call 911, a couple things are gonna happen very quickly, okay? You're gonna hear them answer, police and fire, is this an emergency? Or 911, where is your emergency? The reason that you're gonna hear one of these two things is if they're really, really busy, they're getting tens and hundreds of calls, right, at the same time, they might have to prioritize those. So if you're calling to say, you know, I just need to file a report, I got scammed, or versus, I found someone who's maybe not breathing, right? They're gonna handle those calls a little bit differently. They're gonna prioritize those calls. So if it's not an emergency, they might say, I'm gonna put you on a brief hold, we'll be with you as soon as we can, right? Stay on the line, okay? You may be put on hold, you're gonna be asked a lot of questions. This is where people get really frustrated with our 911 dispatchers. Their actual title is now Public Safety Telecommunicators. So they are gonna ask you a lot of questions. Well, people think if they're being asked questions, the cops aren't coming yet. The ambulance isn't coming yet. I'm gonna tell you right now, as soon as you dial 911 on their screen, your name, your phone number, your information is gonna pop up, right? Just because they're asking you questions does not mean that I'm not already driving lights and sirens to your house, okay? They're gonna ask you a lot of questions, that's for us, that's for the paramedics that are coming, that's so we can have that background knowledge before we even get there, so I know what I'm walking into. They might ask you some questions that you're like, that is a dumb question for what's going on. I promise there's a purpose for all of that. Give as much information as possible. In my job, I don't have the luxury of knowing what I'm walking into every call, right? I might be going to a medical and find out that this was a domestic, that now someone was assaulted and now it's a medical, right? Well, that would be nice for me to know walking in. So all of these questions that they ask have a purpose. So please give as much info as you can. Know that help's already on the way, okay? And just continue to talk to the dispatchers. Enhanced 911, landline phones, it pops up with your address, right? It'll say, this is Mary Smith's house, here's the address, here's the phone number, right? Well, with cell phones, it doesn't always happen as quickly as that. So, enhanced 911, maybe if you're close to, if you live on the river, right, and you call 911 from your cell phone, you might get Hennepin County Dispatch because you're so close. So you might first get Hennepin County when you call 911. They're going to ask 911, where's your emergency? And you're going to say, whatever address in the city of Anoka. They're going to say, okay, hold on, let me transfer you to Anoka. Right, so you're going to get transferred to Anoka. We also see this with state patrol sometimes. If your phone is pinging near a highway, you might get transferred to state patrol dispatch. So again, just give them the info, they'll transfer you on. Any questions on the calling 911? Super brief, I know. All right. So, Anoka crime. First, we're going to define crime. Anyone ever heard of the crime triangle? No? Okay. Well, we're going to talk about it. So, the crime triangle: desire, ability, and opportunity. All three of those things need to be present in order for a crime to be committed. Desire, ability, and opportunity. The only part that we get to control is the opportunity. I can't take away someone's desire to commit a crime, right? I can't take away their ability to commit a crime, short of them being in jail or something like that, right? But what I can control is the opportunity. I can control that part of that crime triangle, and if I can take the opportunity out of it, crime is less likely to occur. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So this is our most recent numbers. 2023 has not come out yet, our official numbers. So this is the last couple years. So in 2022, the Anoka Police Department took 23,101 calls for service. Now, that's everything from the worst of the worst crime to a vehicle lockup, right? So 23,000 calls for service is still a lot of calls for service, right? Compared to other cities, I think I did this slide 2 years ago, and it's even changed since then, but Anoka, 22,547, that's 17,500-ish population, and we have 20 officers who are out responding to calls for service, right? So we have 20 officers assigned to our patrol division. Compared to Coon Rapids, who had 55,000, so obviously they're going to have more calls for service, with a population of 62,500. So they have 42 officers to take that number of calls. So when you look at that, you can see our 20 officers taking 22,000 calls for service compared to 42 officers taking 55,000 calls for service. Our officers are very busy, right? They're very, very busy. Part A crimes, our Part A crimes are our more serious crimes, okay? So they've divided the crimes into Part A and Part B crimes. Part A crimes, like you can see here, homicide, criminal sexual conduct, robbery, aggravated assault. These are the person crimes, is what we call them, right? So crimes against person. So as you can see, homicide, the one on the top, we've been at 0 for a couple years, right? We had 1 back in 2020, and that was a drug overdose that was charged as a homicide. So in Minnesota, if you are the one who provides the drugs to someone who overdosed, you can be charged with a crime. So that one is not a homicide in the sense that you think, a violence, murder, or something like that. That one was a drug overdose that was charged as a homicide. But as you can see, our Part A crimes are our more serious crimes, and a lot of the categories are not expanding a lot, right? So when we looked at that first slide of our calls for service, you can see over the last couple of years, we've had more calls for service. Well, what we're not seeing is our Part A crimes increasing in that same manner, right? We're seeing a lot more of our Part B calls or our non-emergency calls for service. Okay. So within that kind of realm of our calls for service, one of the things that we see is our crimes against seniors. And our 4 biggest types of crimes are financial crimes, property crimes, abuse, and then last is the violent crimes, right? So financial crimes, scams, fraud, things like that are our most, is the crime that's most victimized in our senior citizen community. So we're going to talk a lot about frauds and scams and that kind of prevention today as well. Seniors experience the lowest number of victimization when it comes to violent crime compared to the general population. So elderly make up 12.4% of the population. This is a study back from 2013. Yeah, 2013. Okay. But so 12.4% of the population, fewer than 0.5% over 65 reported being victims of violent crimes. So even though they make up almost 13%, if we're going to round up, 1% of the total violent crimes is made up of victims of senior citizens. Okay. Elderly homicide rates declined by 44% between 1993 and 2011, and then dropping from 3.7 per 100,000 people to 2.1. Right? So again, we're not seeing this uptick of violent crimes when it comes to senior citizens. We're seeing more of the financial crimes, the fraud, the scams, things like that. 93% of our crimes, of crimes against the elderly are property crimes, so burglary, theft from auto, stuff like that. So again, when I talk about Part A and Part B crimes, our person crimes versus our property crimes, right? So we see way more property crimes than we do person crimes, especially in our elderly communities. But realize that it can happen, right? I'm not going to sit up here today and tell you that that's never going to happen, right? That wouldn't be a realistic thing for me to say. So realize it can happen to you and take the steps to avoid it. Don't live in a bubble. Times are different today than they were even 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? So yes, it can happen, right? But we're going to give you some tidbits of knowledge today to help you prevent that from happening. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. If you ever watch officers, if they're sitting down having something to eat or grabbing a cup of coffee at a gas station or something, you'll notice we hardly ever have our backs to the door as we're sitting there because of this, right? I want to be aware of my surroundings. Why shouldn't you be aware of your surroundings as well, right? Know your surroundings. Know where the exit doors are, right? If something happens, how am I going to get out of here, right? If I'm on a walk at night through the parks in Anoka, I want to be aware of my surroundings, right? Doesn't mean just because it's dark it's not a safe place, but I need to be aware of what's normal around me. What am I used to experiencing? Is there someone who keeps following me, right? Is there someone who's walking straight on ahead of me? Just things you need to be aware of. Pay attention to your surroundings. Avoid potential dangerous situations. Use common sense, right? Everyone talks about like the hair on the back of your neck standing up, right? If something doesn't feel right, avoid the situation, right? Remove yourself from that situation. Report all suspicious activity. I can't tell you the number of times that me and Nicole go out and do a presentation like this or something else and they go, well, I didn't want to bother you. I'm going to tell you, even our officers that work overnight are here to be bothered, right? I'm here so that when someone calls 911, there's someone there to go. There's an officer 24/7 in the city of Anoka that can go to that. Oh, there's someone walking on my street. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. It just, something doesn't feel right, right? Bother us, please, okay? A number of times that we hear, well, you probably have better things to do. Yeah, is there times where we have 5, 6, 7, 8 calls pending for an officer to respond to? Sure, in our busy times, absolutely. That doesn't mean we don't want to know what's going on, right? If I have 4 calls for service and they're all active assaults in progress and I have one suspicious activity call that is maybe a phone call, I'm going to get to that suspicious activity call still, but it might just be a little bit, right? It might take me a couple minutes to give you a call back or drive through the neighborhood, but I still want to know about it. So please bug us, bother us, call us. I feel like every time we get that, I didn't want to bother you. Don't allow yourself to be a victim, right? If you can take some of these steps that we're going to talk about today, some of this info, you're going to be able to help yourself avoid being that victim. Again, I can't promise you that after this you're going to be good to go, right? You need to be, you need to be part of that one help for yourself, right? So apartment security, we talked about this just a little bit. This also applies to a lot of residential housing too, okay? So criminals enjoy relative no one knows them, right? If you're in an apartment building, people are visiting, people are coming, going, right? So they enjoy people not knowing who they are. Residency is usually short-term, tends to develop less of a sense of responsibility or no responsibility at all. So if you ever see someone, if you live in a building with like a secured entry, right? If you ever see someone trying to be Minnesota nice, hold the door open, hey, welcome, come on in, right? Don't do that. Okay? Let them buzz themselves in. Let them use a key fob or buzz whoever's apartment they're going to. Okay? You see, we call it piggybacking, right? We see that all the time when it comes to things like package thefts, thefts from vehicles in apartment complexes. We have a secured garage. We see that all the time. Because what's our nature? We want to be nice, we want to be kind. Here, let me hold that door for you. Well, little did you know, you just let in someone who's going to go down to the garage and start stealing money from cars, right? So keep that in mind. We call that piggybacking. It's hard to do, but just say, hey, I'm going to have you scan your own fob, use your key, whatever it is, just to make sure that our community is safe. Okay. Residents often leave security issues to others. So with that, no one confronts people walking through an apartment building, right? It's uncomfortable, right? That's where we come in. You're like, something's not right. This person's been walking around every floor of the apartment building. They're down in the garage. I've seen them like 4 times. They don't really have a purpose. They just keep walking around. That would be something I would think is suspicious, right? Generally, people don't just walk around an apartment building for hours on end, not going into the unit, right? So again, it goes back to that. If something's not right in your mind, do something about it. Be cautious during night hours. Again, the lights of parking lots. If your parking lot doesn't have great lighting, maybe that's something that needs to be brought up to management, right? Again, just being aware of your surroundings, aware of your environment. Look around before you park, or if you're going to your car, make sure that you have your keys in your hand, ready to open the door, quick get in, and lock the door again, right? We don't want to be fumbling through our purse, through our pockets, where do I put those keys, right? If I'm going to go to my car, I'm going to have my keys ready to go so that I can unlock that door and get in my car, right? Piggybackers we talked about. Peepholes are good in apartment buildings. It's actually required in a lot of city codes. And then make it a habit of locking your doors at all times, even if you live in a house, okay? Most of the crimes, like burglaries, things like that, are not someone going and kicking a door in like you can see on TV, right? They're entering through an unlocked car door, an unlocked house door. The car is in the driveway unlocked, and what's on the visor of everyone's car? Garage door, right? They didn't have to kick a door in to get into the garage. They didn't have to break a window. They simply opened the door to the car that was not locked and hit the button, and now I have access to your garage and or your entire house if you didn't have your house door locked. So, lock your door at all times, even when you're home. You see people all the time that, well, I'm home, it's fine, I'll just leave the front door unlocked. Or we're just inviting them in at this point, right? Even if you're home, lock the door. If someone needs to come into your house, they can knock, they can ring the doorbell. Financial crime. So this is where we're going to talk a lot about fraud, scams, things of that nature. Okay, that's going to be kind of the majority of this presentation. Am I okay on time so far? So according to the 2010 census, those over 65 accounted for 12.4% of the population, 12.4% of the population. Older adults are more likely to be victimized. This is financial crimes, right? Not just crime in general. Victims over 55 were significantly less likely to acknowledge that they had been defrauded. We don't want to tell someone, hey, I just gave $10,000 to someone who XYZ, right? They don't like to report these frauds and scams. So this number of the total number of people who are victimized by this is probably not accurate. It's probably much, much higher, okay? Our hope, after leaving here today, is that you'll learn some of these tools to help keep yourself safe from fraud. I'm going to tell you, it happens everywhere. This is not simply for those 55 and older. We get scams at work all the time. I'll show you an example, right? So keep that in mind as we're going through this presentation. Why are elderly normally targeted though? Vulnerable, trusting, you're all really, really nice, right? Believe the pitches, trouble spotting fraud, lack of information about them, unable to end telemarketing calls. It's rude to just hang up on somebody, right? We want to be nice. That Minnesota nice, here it comes again. We want to be nice. It's rude to just hang up a phone, right? Hang up on them. Reluctant to seek financial advice, and then lack of knowledge in technology. That's a big one, right? Even 5 years that I've been at Anoka, the technology I use as a police officer has changed drastically, even in 5 years, right? Does anyone in here consider themselves like a computer whiz? Me either, right? Lack of info about technology. What is a spam email? What does it look like, right? If I click this link and it brings me to the website that looks like US Bank or Wells Fargo, right? Is it actually? How do I spot the differences in that, okay? What do scammers and thieves think? Assets, money, right? Generally elderly population, right? You have worked, you have some money saved up, right? Things of that. That's one of the reasons that they target the elderly population. Memory, isolated, right? A lot of times they either live with significant other, live on their own, not with family members, right? Polite, like I said, you're all way too nice. And avoid reporting scams. If they can go in a room of 100 people and scam every one of them, how many of those are actually going to report that, hey, I sent $1,000 via gift card to this person, right? Probably not that many of them. So they know if they can keep doing it over and over again and not be reported, they have a lot higher chance of success because there's not a bunch of police reports. There's not federal agencies that are looking into this scheme, stuff like that. Sucker list. So this is one thing that they use. If you respond to a sweepstakes, your name, phone number, address, things like that, the sucker list contains the names of people who have been or are good targets for scams, right? So if you answer a phone call from a scam, even if it's one of those voice recorded ones, I got like 3 of them the other day telling me I was approved for a new home loan rate, right? Well, if you answer that, they now know, hey, this is a good phone number. Someone's gonna answer this number if we call. So even if it's not part of the scam, they're gonna have your name and number on this list now of, hey, someone actually has this phone number, versus no one answering and they don't know, well, is the phone number even good? Is it valid anymore, right? So keep that in mind. People on the list may also hear from crooks that claim they can help recover money lost, right? So we've unfortunately seen this where someone's been scammed, right? Well, someone else calls and says, hey, I know you got scammed, I can help you. Let me help you get that $20,000 you sent. I'll help you get that back. Just for a small fee though, right? So unfortunately, not only did they get scammed and send $20,000, they also sent another $5,000 to this person who's going to help them, right? Be aware of that. I think Pete said it, you've won, right? I get those emails all the time. You've won, you just need to send us your social security, bank account, credit card, address, and firstborn child, right? And then it'll be good to go. You have not won, I'm sorry. No one emails you and says, you won a Harbor Freight toolbox. I get that one all the time. You've won $1,000. You've won a cruise vacation, right? I wish, because if all of those were true, I'd be on a cruise somewhere in Mexico every day of the week, right? So, you haven't won. It goes back to that old adage, if it's too good to be true, probably too good to be true. Phishing. We see this one a lot. Anyone ever gotten a really convincing email from, I don't know, Amazon, US Bank, Wells Fargo, anywhere, right? And it looks...
From Wells Fargo last
Yeah,
Saturday.
and it looks really real,
Really?
right? it looks really real. There's a couple different things that sometimes you'll be able to see. Maybe the logo's a little off. The big giveaway is often, who's the email from? If you get an email from Wells Fargo, US Bank, something like that, their email address that the email comes from is probably going to be customer relations at US Bank or at Wells Fargo or at Amazon, something like that, right? Not 123abc at mail.company. Whatever, right? So that's one thing that you really need to look at, and I think we have an example of that, of the chief's email in here. So it looks like your bank will tell you, hey, click a link, we need you to log in, reset your password. Well, you click that link, type in your username and password, you just willingly gave whoever that email and password, that username and password to that bank, to that account, whatever it is, right? I always tell people, don't click the link. If you get a link from your bank or something, anything, right? Amazon, I get that one all the time. Don't click the link that's in the email. If you need to go reset your password, go onto the internet, go to the website that you know is the right website, go to Amazon, go to Wells Fargo, reset your password that way, right? Don't click the link that just takes you right to the page of, hey, type in all your info here, okay? Your bank is also not gonna send you an email that says, hey, we just need to verify your social security number for your account. No, right? Don't just send it, okay? Call your bank. Again, don't use the phone number that's on that email. Call the number that you know is your bank. Call the number that you know is Amazon or whatever company you're dealing with, okay?
I've gotten text messages from PayPal
Mhm.
saying your order is ready.
Yes. So, same thing. Don't click the link that's in that text message, excuse me, your email. Go to that website. Maybe you did order something from PayPal. Anyone done that? You ordered something and you're like, I forgot I ordered that. I've done it. But I'm not gonna click the link that Amazon texts me, Amazon texts me, and says, hey, click this to confirm delivery and we'll set up delivery. No, I'm gonna go log in to the website that I know is real and see what's going on with that. Okay? And again, they'll ask for personal info. No one from your bank is gonna call you on the phone and say, hey, I just need to verify your social. Can you just give me your social quick? No, I didn't initiate this contact. I'm gonna hang up. I'll call the bank back and ask if they actually need my social. Right? End the call. Call from a number that, or call the number that you know is the actual number and go from there. Tech support scams. We see this one a lot too. They'll call and say, hey, we noticed you have a virus on your computer. Right? Well, how does random company know that I have a virus on my computer? Okay? So, they'll call, unsolicited phone calls, pop-up ads, emails, you name it, they try it. And they pretend like they're from well-known companies, right? You think of all the computer security companies, they're gonna use their names to make it seem real. Problem is, unsuspecting people will give bank account info, they'll give usernames, passwords, right? Don't raise your hand for this next question, but anyone use the same password for every website? Right? If you give them one username and password, you just gave them 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 accounts, username and passwords. It takes nothing for them to quick try Amazon, US Bank, PayPal, whatever other accounts, right? Throw your name and email, or throw your email address and password in and see if you have an account there, right? So, they can also download software where they can take over your computer, right? So they'll tell you, hey, in order for me to help you, I need to be able to log into your computer. I need to be able to control your computer. You do that, they gain access to your computer, they download something, now they can see whatever keystroke of your keyboard is, right? So when you go and type in your bank username and password, they now have that. That's sent directly to them. Grandparents scam. This one was really popular a couple years ago. It took a little bit of a break, and now I think we've gotten quite a few calls of this again. So, if you haven't, I recommend that you Google yourself, okay? You'll be surprised what info is readily available on you. And what I mean by that is sons, daughters, grandkids, address, phone number, stuff like that, right? These people are really good at what they do, okay? So this one, they will find out what your grandkid's name is, what your son, daughter's name is. And they'll set up this call, and they'll say, there's an emergency, they need you to send money. We get it all the time of, hey, I'm in jail, right? A lot of the time it's grandkids, oh, I'm away at college, I screwed up, got arrested for DUI, whatever it is, and I need some money for bail, right? What do they say? What else can you do to protect yourself on this one? Ask the questions. Is Johnny really in jail for DUI, right? Is Johnny really gonna call me and sound maybe a little different on the phone? Or if I ask Johnny a question that Johnny should know, and they answer it incorrectly, is that normal, right? So we see this all the time. They call, hey, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, I'm in jail. I need money for bail. Can you just get some gift cards from Amazon and they'll let me out?
My grandson Johnny and I have a passport.
Okay, there you go. That one's common, especially
And we're the
It
only one,
starts-
he and his dad. We
Yeah.
know it.
Yep, so it was, they have like a safe word or a password for their family.
Yeah.
So that one is really popular with like little kids too, like, hey, I'm here to pick you up from school, your parents are unable to, so I'm here to get you. Right, well, what's the safe word?
Yeah.
Pickles, I don't know.
That's happened to me, is that when I had listed up a list of contacts, and one, all of them, I noticed were just one name, Judy, Joan, blah, blah, blah. There was one, my Uncle Norbert, I put it Uncle Norbert. Well, Uncle Norbert got a phone call about me, and Norbert called my sister. And then she called me and she says, Joan, you're not in jail, are you? And you need money for bail. No, honey, I'm not. And I only can think that, okay, Uncle Norbert means that Uncle Norbert's old.
Sure. Like I said, oh, there we go. One second. Like I said too, we see this a lot with the grandparents because what do grandparents do? Spoil the grandkids, right? It's your job, right? I think it's in the job description that comes with grandkids. Yeah, I'll send you the money, let's get you out of jail, come pick you up, whatever it is, right? You wanna help, that's what grandparents do. I promise you, no one is gonna take bail money with an Amazon gift card. Or an iTunes gift card. Okay? I promise you.
I had that call, and I said to the guy, I am so glad you got that useless SOB. I said, please give me your address so I can send you his birth certificate, because then you'll get us out of our family. And I haven't heard from him since.
Keep them, right?
So that was smart.
And then the last point on here, don't send money unless you know it's real, right? So like I said, no one's gonna have you pay a bail with Amazon gift cards, iTunes gift cards, anything like that. It's gonna be going through a bail bondsman. It's gonna be, a cashier's check, something like that, right?
I think the Anoka County Sheriff's Office had an email that was sent out to those of us who are on their list to receive their weekly report. And one thing they had recommended is if someone like that calls you to say they're in jail, hang up, call their phone. Call who you have as their their contact number. Call them directly and just hang up on them. Don't give them any information. So
The other thing you can do too is if they say, "Hey, Grandpa, Grandma, I'm in the Anoka County Jail," all that's public. You can go on the Anoka County website and see who's in custody. Right? It's a pretty good way to see if grandkid Johnny or whatever Johnny is in jail. Okay, so keep that in mind. Romance scams. This one, again, was really popular, kind of took a break, and now we're seeing a lot of them. So romance scam What that is someone makes contact, Facebook, dating websites, whatever it is, somehow makes contact, right? And starts to talk to you, starts to form a relationship, right? This scam is not one that occurs overnight. We've seen months and months and years of contact between this person that they're interested in, whatever it is, before the scam actually occurs. I think the longest one I remember, maybe you remember better, there was like 6 or 7 months of back and forth communication before the scam actually occurred. So they'll use, like I said, social networks, dating apps, website, things like that. They use fake pictures, fake stories. They ask a lot of questions, use information that you give them against you, right? Oh yeah, I have grandkids, I have son's daughter, whatever it is, right? And they'll use that and remember that. Because maybe then, the next time that they start talking, hey, you said Johnny is in college, how's that going for him? Right? They use that to form that relationship. They ask for financial assistance. Oh, you know, times are tough. I can't pay my phone bill right now, and I really want to keep texting you, keep calling you. Can you help me with my phone bill? Sure, I'll send you $100 for your phone bill, right? Whatever you want to help. Well, then it's, hey, I can't afford rent. Hey, I want to travel to come see you, but I can't afford to do it. Can you send me some money for a plane ticket? Right? Things of that nature. According to the Federal Trade Commission, who is one of the kind of entities that oversees scams and frauds online, in 2018, individuals reported losing $143 million in romance schemes. $143 million, just in this one type of scam, right? A higher total than the other types of scams reported, right? So this one is one that we see, unfortunately, a lot. They form a relationship, right? Because again, you're all very nice. You want to be nice and have conversations with people, and something like this will happen, right? Don't send someone money if you've never met them. You've never talked on the phone, right? We see it all the time. They'll start with a couple messages, text messages, emails, and phone calls. They'll even call you and pretend to be whichever person they are pretending to be that day, right? This scam is built over a long period of time, and it's very successful because of that relationship. You don't really think anything of, hey, here's $100 for your phone bill. Hey, here's a couple $100 for rent. I know times are tough. Oh, I just lost my job, right? I need money for groceries. They like to pull at those heartstrings, right? I don't have somewhere to live. I can't afford food or gas. They like to pull at those heartstrings that we all have. So what do? Cease contact, block them, right? We don't need that, so block them on social media, the dating website, whatever it is, whatever platform you're using. Report the scam to the FBI and police, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then identify theft precautions, or identity theft precautions. So, monitor your credit score, right? You can go and lock your credit so that if someone goes and applies to buy a car, it's going to say, nope, it's locked. You have to go unlock it, right? There's ways to do that. There's a lot of different, we don't endorse any brand or anything like that, but there's a lot of different credit monitoring companies that you can use, right? Use those to your advantage. I recommend everyone use that, whether you're the victim of a scam or not, right? IRS scams, this one's big, always has been. They'll call and tell you, hey, this is Agent Johnson with the IRS. My badge number's ABC123, whatever it is. You owe the federal government $850,000. Is it scary to owe the federal government that much money? Yeah, right? That's why they do it. They use that official title. I'm Agent so-and-so with the IRS. I'm, whatever title they want to use. I'm Senior Special Agent in Charge. Big title, right? They may know the last 4 numbers of your social security number, right? You don't ever get like pay stubs in the mail, right? Well, what does your pay stub sometimes have on it? Last 4 digits of your social security number, right? One of those goes missing, someone puts it online in one of the black websites that these scammers use. They know your last 4 digits of your social security number, right? Just because even they know that does not mean that this is real, okay? They can spoof the phone number and make it look like the IRS is calling. We actually see this one a lot when it comes to people calling pretending to be, the police department, or the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. They have the ability to make it look like it's coming from our direct line. So it'll say 763-576-2800, which is our department phone number, and you'll answer it thinking, oh, it's the police department. Not always, right? So they can spoof that phone number to make it look real. Send you a bogus email, threaten you with jail time, right? If you owe the federal government $850,000 and they tell you, if you send me $500 an iTunes gift card, I won't come arrest you. I promise the federal government is not going to take $500 in iTunes gift cards to settle that $850,000. Okay? So, keep that in mind. If it's too good to be true, probably not true. Okay? I always love it. We've had it even at the police department where someone's called and said, oh, you have a warrant out for your arrest. And I'm sitting at work in the police department. If you don't do this, we're going to come arrest you. Well, great. If you could take me out of here, fantastic. Here's where I am. I'm at the police department. I'm waiting here for you. Click. We get that all the time. Like, I'm going to come arrest you. Perfect. Here's where I am. If you get a phone call from someone claiming to be the IRS, here's what you're going to do. Okay? If you know that you owe taxes, maybe you're like, oh yeah, I do, right? Maybe it's happened. Call the IRS. You reach out and initiate that contact, right? So that you know exactly, yes, this is the actual IRS phone number that I called, not the one that they gave me on the phone. The one that I looked up and found to be the IRS. I'm going to call them and see what's going on. Okay? If you know you don't owe taxes, have no reason to, call and report to the Treasury Inspector General. Okay, there's a number on there. You can also file a complaint. That Federal Trade Commission is the one who kind of takes complaints like that. Just data tracking, kind of seeing what the new trends are, starts looking into some of these scams. They have a complaint form on their website, on the Federal Trade Commission website. Give everybody a minute to write that thing down. This one is unfortunately, always has been popular and always will be popular.
And it pops up more often too, like, people start filing their taxes now, so you start seeing that more often, like right now too. And then after the deadline, the tax deadline, you'll see it pop up again because they're like, oh, you didn't pay your taxes. Now, I'm gonna call you up. And they're never going to call you actually. Have you ever had to call the IRS? And you might wait on hold for 2 hours? You certainly don't have time to call you.
And like I said, the way that they're going to contact you, they'll send you something in the mail, something like that. They're not going to call you and ask you to settle the debt today by gift card or whatever it is. They always use gift cards, Amazon, iTunes, Walmart, whatever gift cards. Federal government doesn't want your gift cards, I promise.
Are these perks ever brought to justice?
So the question was, basically, do we ever catch these people? Sometimes, yes. The challenging part about this is we at the Anoka Police Department don't have the resources to get this guy who's calling everyone claiming to be the IRS. So it generally goes to a federal agency, and they'll start looking at it. A lot of the times what's happened is because of the volume of crime that these people are committing, they're not just scamming one person, they're scamming hundreds of thousands of people. The federal agency will be the one who investigates it. So, there's oftentimes challenges that come with that. If they're overseas or things like that, different agencies become involved. It's not, unfortunately, super common that these people are arrested. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish I could say it the other way, but it's not the case.
Can I just make a comment? They also have on TV the ads, well, if you owe the government $600,000,
Yes.
call them and they will help work it down for you.
Yes. Yeah, you see it all the time.
And now you only owe 500.
Yeah, the infomercials that,
Yeah.
oh, they took my
And that's- yeah.
$850,000 debt, and now I only owe $200,000. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
I can't read the second phone number down for the Inspector General, it's too small.
This one, okay, it's 1-800-366-4484. And again, if you go to their website, they might have, phone numbers change sometimes, updates, things like that. So I would recommend going to the Treasury Inspector General, their website. IRS encourages taxpayers to be vigilant against phone and email scams that use the IRS name and logo. They'll take their logo from the IRS website and throw it on an email and send it out and see what happens, right? People are very creative. The IRS does not initiate contact with taxpayers by email or request personal or financial information. It includes any electronic communication. The IRS is not going to send you a message on Facebook. Keep that in mind. We've seen it. People have fallen for that one of, hey, Mr. Government, just here to collect your taxes while you're, browsing Facebook. They also have an email that you can forward any suspicious emails that you don't think are from the IRS. It's phishing, phishing @irs.gov. Am I doing time? Okay, just give me the signal. Social Security, Medicare scams, we see this one a lot as well, right? Social Security, hey, you get Social Security, you're not gonna get your check next month if you don't call and verify this info, right? You're not gonna get XYZ benefit if you don't call and verify your info, give us your social, whatever it is, okay? See that one a lot. A lot of the times with these, the caller is very aggressive, right? Hey, don't you want your money next month? Well, if you want your money, then you better give us all this info, right? Otherwise, you're not gonna get paid. They're very aggressive. I don't wanna say violent, but just very aggressive in how they're gonna try and get this info from you. They're not Minnesota nice. Again, if you get a contact with this, the biggest thing, you initiate the contact. Hang up the phone call the number, you'll probably sit on hold for a little bit, but at least if you're initiating that phone number that is actually the Social Security, Medicare, whatever phone number, you're initiating the contact. Okay? Charities, I'll breeze through this one. Anyone ever gotten a call from, I get it all the time now, the Fraternal Organization of United Police for Citizens? I get those all the time, right? For this animal abuse against whatever charity. Great. Tell them, hey, thanks for calling. I'll look into it. If it's something I want to give to, I'll go to the website. I'll call the phone number and I'll donate that. Well, no. If you call, give me your credit card today, we'll send you a t-shirt.
Keep your t-shirt.
Yeah, t-shirt, great. There's a lot of organizations that are similar to the Fraternal Organization of United Police or whatever. Go research if that's what you want to give to. If you want to give to the International Firefighters Brotherhood of America, I don't know, whatever. Look that charity up. You seek that charity out. Find that information. Okay? Don't give to charities over the phone. Okay? Don't give to charities that send you something in the mail. Do your research, look them up, see what their money goes towards. A lot of these charities, you'll find give a very, very small portion, if any, to the cause, and a lot of it goes into pockets, right? So do your research. Make sure it's a nonprofit. Kids Wish Network sounds great, right? But do your own research, see who you want to give to, and then you initiate that contact. You go to the website, figure out which charity you want to give to, call the phone number, send a check, do it online, whatever it is. Caretaker crimes. So this one we see a lot in assisted living facilities, PCAs, stuff like that. So this one is where caretaker comes in, starts caring for the individual. You'll see that they try and isolate from friends and family, right? If friends and family are visiting all the time, they'll try and decrease that, try and withdraw them from friends and family. ask you about your will and investments. Generally, someone who's coming to take care of you in your house, especially from, an organization, isn't gonna go, so what's in the will? Right? It's not realistic, okay? They'll ask you to give them power of attorney. Hey, if anything happens, I want to be able to make medical decisions for you, right? So if you could just sign this power of attorney, great, right? Or they'll try and dominate or influence you, okay? Hey, you should really write me a check for this. You should help me pay for this, whatever it is, okay? Tell family members or call Adult Protective Services if you think this is going on, okay? So if you have a friend, family member, whatever that this is happening to, tell somebody about it, right? Get a hold of their family members, let them know, hey, I don't like what's going on here, can you look into it? Or call Adult Protective Services. Financial exploitation is a lot of the times done by somebody who they know, right? Someone that cares for them, family members, caregivers, whatever it is. Keep all your important documents locked up, right? In a safe deposit box, whatever it is. And then let your attorney know, like, hey, I have a safety deposit box, here's where it is, here's how to get access to it, right? Something of that nature. Telemarketing rules, these have actually changed recently. A lot of the times they don't exactly follow them. But they're not supposed to call between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. No purchases are needed to be entered into whatever prize or sweepstakes they're calling you. Again, don't even go there, don't enter them. They can't be misrepresented or exaggerated. Happens all the time, right? Anyone see the infomercials on TV where it's like, this is the best vacuum ever? And you get it and it's not the best vacuum ever? Oh, and they cannot withdraw your payment without written or recorded approval to do so. So they're very sneaky in sometimes how they ask you this, right? Hey, can I, we'll just take out the money and we'll do it in like 4 payments or whatever. $25 is fine. Oh yeah, that sounds good. You just told them they can do it, right? There's a recorded permission, okay? Read your credit card and bank statements. This is how my credit card's been compromised before, right? All of a sudden there's a $250 charge from some store in California that I'm like, I haven't even ever been to California, right? Read your bank statements, credit card statements, know your payment due dates. You know that your house payment comes out on the 1st and your car payment comes out on the 15th, right? Know that, so that if all of a sudden your house payment comes out on the 1st and then ABC Mortgage shows up on your thing on the 15th, you can go, wait, that's not right. Read your health insurance plan statements, shred documents with personal information. It's a big one. Everyone likes to just throw it in the garbage when they get it, right? You get your credit card statement and, yep, looks good, throw it in the garbage. Shred it. There's a lot of places that you can bring a box of documents and they'll shred it right there for you. But shred it, destroy it, do something with it. Don't just throw it in the garbage. Review your credit reports at least once a year. You can review those. You can have applications from different companies that you can open it up. I can open up my credit report anytime and look at it and go, I didn't buy a car in Iowa, right? So keep that in mind as well. Review your credit reports at least once a year. We already talked about this. Be suspicious. You want a prize, a gift. You must pay for shipping on your prize or gift. Or give us your credit card number to verify that you're a credit card holder for our bank or organization. Well, if you contacted me, shouldn't you know that I have your credit card, right? The other one that we see all the time is you're a long-lost family member, some prince in some foreign country, and they just really want to give you the $275,000 that they have sitting there. If you're asked for personal information, you're asked to donate money to a Sound Lake charity we talked about, you're one of a very few number of people to receive this special offer. You get those all the time with credit card, things in the mail. Well, you're one of very few to receive this wonderful interest rate. A courier will come to your home to collect the payment. So people think, oh, this is great. It must be real because they're going to come pick up the money. You don't even have to send it online. We actually had 2 years ago, there was a rash in the Twin Cities where the grandparent scam. Well, hey, just so you know we're real, we'll come pick the money up for you. And someone would show up, pick up the money. right? Never be seen again. Johnny wasn't ever in jail. Okay? So just because someone's like, hey, we're gonna come get the money, so you know we're real, don't believe it. Never allow strangers into your home to reveal financial info. Believe a stranger will use your money for good purpose. Sign contracts that have blank lines on them, right? That's a big one. So, hey, if you just sign this contract, and they don't show you every page of the contract, they don't show you, you know, the different parts that are missing from the contract, just be wary of stuff like that. And don't assign power of attorney to people you don't know. All right, we're almost done. So this is an actual scam example from 2019. Someone called from the police department phone number, right? They spoofed their phone number and said they're part of the Department of Public Safety. They're Jason Sanchez. This person called our police department back, said, hey, do you have a Jason Sanchez that works for you? He said, no one by that name works here. So the original scammer gave them a phone number to call, told them his vehicle was found in Texas with a couple kilos of cocaine located inside. His name had been used for money laundering, and if they didn't pay or transfer money, he'd be arrested by the Anoka Police Department. Even though Jason was never identified himself as an officer, only that he was with the Department of Public Safety. So again, they use those titles, they use from the Anoka Police Department, from the Anoka County Sheriff's Office, from the Minnesota State Patrol, whatever it is, Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. They'll use those titles to try and gain your trust. Unfortunately, they went to Target, provided the gift card information to this officer, agent, whatever it was, for a total of $4,000. Yes, even after we said Jason Sanchez doesn't work.
But they were convinced by this person that called back, so they gave the money.
So they must have had a car stolen. How did does Jason know that their car was stolen? Or what?
They didn't have a car stolen.
They just say let somebody put a car in their name, so someone could have bought a car in their name.
Oh.
They're saying this Texas drug one is pretty common actually.
Mm-hmm.
From up here, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they think a lot of people go to Texas or what, but this is a pretty common scam even now. I mean, this one happened to be in 2019, but you still get this, this same version of a car was located in Texas that registers to you or has your mail in it, so you must have just bought that car.
Another one from 2019, Officer Alan Smith, badge 724889. Call came from, I can't remember who they identified themselves with, but they instructed the victim to withdraw $60 from their bank account, put it on an eBay gift card. Again, they're not going to accept payment via eBay gift card. Call them back. This is a real key in determining if this is a scam. They say, hey, take $60 out, go get a gift card. How much more money do you have in your account? Well, I have $15,000 in savings. Great, we need $14,500 to satisfy this debt, right? No one is going to call and ask you, how much money do you have in your account? Okay. The eBay gift card for $60, so they did, so they got a second one, so they're out $120. $120 is one of the very small numbers that we see. Generally, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
I wonder if you did that to 10 or 20 people a day, you're doing pretty well actually for a day's work.
Good job.
This one, 2020, captain was advising a person had contacted him in the past. So this is the FedEx one. Okay. So the victim was told, hey, case against you for money laundering, opening a fraudulent checking account. The way to clear this, the only way to clear this, is to send them cash. Forget, going through a court process to prove your innocence. Just the only way to get rid of this is to send us money. So they said, send us $18,600 in cash via FedEx. So the victim stated he was able to stop the FedEx package, so called FedEx and said, hey, never mind, I don't want this delivered. He received a follow-up phone call from the scammer and called back to FedEx to have the package shipped back to him. The victim stated he contacted the FBI, local police, where the package was supposed to be shipped, but they did not want to be present when the package was delivered. He, long story short, called FedEx, said, hey, deliver the package, I'll call the police and set up a sting, right? Well, when he figured out that wasn't gonna work, he tried to call FedEx back, to stop the package again, and it had already been delivered. So $18,600 cash, gone. 2020, officers spoke to the victim. They got a phone call from a male who claimed to be Sheriff James Stewart, that they found the victim's social security information had been used and they needed to pay to keep the information private. The victim sent several gift cards in the total amount of $10,400 from different businesses. So a couple things wrong with this one. The sheriff of Anoka County does not have time to call and tell you that you're a victim of social security fraud. Probably going to be an investigator, deputy, something like that, right? Secondly, we're not going to blackmail you into keeping your social security number private, okay? That's the second red flag on this one. And then third, we're certainly not going to charge you $10,400 in gift cards to do that. This is one of our more recent ones. So in early 2023, a resident received notifications on their computer of a virus. They were instructed to call a 1-800 number for assistance. They did that. They were then instructed to get rid of the virus. You need to pay $3,500. So they went, got $3,500, sent it to them to fix their computer. This one, is this the last one we just got?
I received this yesterday.
Okay, so this is from yesterday. We try and update this as much as we can. We just so happen to have a great example. So if you can't read it, it says, it's to Nicole. Actually, everybody in our department got it. But it says it's from Eric, Chief of Police Peterson. Well, Eric Peterson is our Chief of Police. Chief of Police is not his middle name, certainly. But it says, hi, are you available at the moment? I need you to handle a project. I'm heading for a meeting at the moment and can't talk. Just send an email when you receive this. Peterson, Eric, Chief of Police. Okay? We've gotten 4 of these in the last, 2 months roughly. The first one was, I need help discreetly handling a task. It was, they wanted gift cards, I think that one was. We want to, go out and give gift cards to those in need. So if you could just use your department credit card, go buy gift cards so that we can give them out to people.
We recently got one that said it was from the mayor.
Yes, the mayor.
as well. So we
Yep.
also, the mayor got,
So,
and he got an email like that asking for us, and that's the mayor.
so remember when I talked about the sender address is a really good clue? Well, this sender address was myofficemail.domain@gmail.com. That is not a City of Anoka email address. If this had come from the chief, I would know it because I know his email address, right? So again, pay attention to those small details. He also doesn't sign his name Peterson Eric, right? Basically what they do with this is they'll go on a city website, our names and titles and emails and phone numbers are posted on city websites, right? And so that's where they got this, because on the website it says Orrin Austin, right? It's last name and first name. So my assumption would be that's probably where they got Peterson, Eric, okay? So we're not exempt from getting scam emails. Thankfully, no one went and responded and did this, right? But it happens, right?
Is that a crime? Can you investigate that? How do you handle that?
So, yes, they're portraying something.
Right.
There was no loss, so no one went and responded or got gift cards or anything like that. So basically what happens with this is flagged, and our IT department will deal with it from there. But again, if you were to be able to track this email, which is incredibly difficult, it would probably come from somewhere overseas.
No. What about those emails you get, like your invoice, click your here's your invoice. I mean, I get those a lot.
Mhm.
And
Same thing.
yeah.
So that's where they are hoping that you click that link. They can download something on your computer if you click the link. They get all your keystroke information, stuff like that. Yep. This is another one we got from the Federal Investigation of Illegal Internet Activity. Anyone?
See them a lot on my work
Yeah.
email.
Anyone ever seen the movie Men in Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is from William Smith, Senior Detective MIB Division. So they use the Men in Black. Yeah. The Machine Intelligence Grad. But basically, we all got this in the police department too. Recently, we noticed someone has been using your email to conduct illegal online activity. Well, first off, if I'm gonna start conducting illegal online activity, I'm certainly not gonna use my police department email to do so. So, we all got this, and again, they're hoping you click the link and go through the steps and download something, whatever. But we get a handful of these more recently, to our city email address, right? No one's exempt from this. I'm almost done, I promise.
Yeah, these are just information.
So if you do become a victim of a scam, call the police, we'll document it, we'll take the report, right? Contact agencies such as the Attorney General's office, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, it's ic3.gov, Internet Crime Center, right? That one is run by the FBI. Again, it's a tracking tool that they use, see what scams are popular right now, which ones they need to investigate, stuff like that. State Elder Abuse, Directory of Elder Abuse Prevention Resources. There's a couple different phone numbers on there. I'll leave it up for a second. So this one is a good resource. U.S. Administration on Aging. It's AOA.gov. So they have advocate information, scam material, stuff like that. AOA.gov. Yes. Minnesota Attorney General. If you just Google Minnesota Attorney General, you can find their website, contact info. And then the Federal Trade Commission, again, FTC.gov is a good resource for like identity theft, info and stuff like that. All right. Any questions? Yes. I knew there were gonna be questions.
Does Coon Rapids have a similar thing? I mean, I'm from Coon Rapids.
Mhm.
So do you know what is theirs a similar,
Like presentation?
no, well, yeah, or a group that does this kind of stuff?
Yes,
Yeah.
so they have officers similar to the position I have here that'll come up and do presentations. I don't know, I would assume they have
They don't
no, with the scam presentation. I would assume they do, I would just call them and ask them. Yep. Yeah.
One of your slides had a deal on, sentence talked about making eye contact with, I think it was inside of apartments or complex, wherever you are.
Mhm.
And it says make contact.
So-
Just explain it a little more.
Yeah, so, what that one's getting to is the suspects, especially if it's a person crime, like the people not knowing who they are. So if you look someone in the face, say, hey, good morning, good evening, something like that. A lot of the times that triggers them to go, oh, they've seen my face, I don't, they know who I am. That's why we talk about, especially like places of worship, having a greeter at the front door, or schools, having a greeter at the front door who makes eye contact and says, good morning, glad to see you here. That freaks them out, because someone's seen me, they may be able to identify me later on, right? They greeted me, I've had a conversation with them. So that's why, like schools, places of worship, community centers, different community events, having a greeter is huge, because they see you making eye contact, interacting with them, they don't like it. Yeah, power of hello. It's, they've done studies on it, and there's actually been a lot of studies on like school shooters, and just how they had planned before to do it, but someone greeted them at the front door, said hello. And that kind of broke that train of thought for them, so that I'm being known.
So you've brought in so many different things to this presentation. I got one question.
Absolutely.
So should we just assume everything's a scam in life now? What should be our approach with
So,
texts, emails?
so I want to say no, don't assume everything's a scam, but be cognizant that everything could be a scam. Like I said, someone might call that says, hey, police department on caller ID. Maybe it's not, right? So I've had a couple people do it, and I've never been mad or upset about it, but I'll call them, say, hey, it's Officer Warren, City of Anoka, I need to talk to you about this. Where did you say you work for? City of Anoka? Okay, well, I'm gonna call that number back and see if you work for them. Sure, great. I'll be waiting in my office, right? So do we need to assume, everything's a scam? No. Do we need to be kind of cognizant that it could be a scam? Yeah.
It's important that you make the contact. So if you
Yeah.
get a call, be like, all right, I'll call back. And then you initiate that from a number that you know is accurate, because everything can be. So we see it we see these scams all the time, right here in our city.
Do you see any that you may have a Bitcoin?
Actually, we recently it started out as a romance scam. She was talking to somebody on a dating site who convinced her that she could make a lot of money if she started investing in some cryptocurrency. So she started investing in this cryptocurrency stuff, and the amount of about $370,000. She slowly started, she mortgaged her house. She was she was a teacher. She's an average, very smart person. And this was in the last 6 months probably, where she gave up, she kept investing back into cryptocurrency through this site, and they created a wallet for her that looked like she had this money and she was gaining more money, but then she had to deposit more money if she wanted to get out this other money, and she's about $370,000 she's lost, and we have no way of recovering that because it's one, in cryptocurrency, and two, it was out of. So we do see people wanting to get cryptocurrency.
I have a question, just out of curiosity, these gift cards, are they asking these to be mailed, or are they asking them to scratch off the back and give that number? I know someone who was, like you said, a very intelligent person who just got ripped off for like $100,000, and I'm like, why would you do that? But it sounded like they did the gift cards, but are they mailing them, or are they just scratching it off and giving them the number over the phone?
So they'll have you read the number over the phone.
Okay.
Yep. So they'll take the number, the code on the back or whatever it is, and that's what they'll use. They don't have to have the physical gift card.
Can I just add one more thing, and it's something I've thought about a lot because I have a grandson that goes to school in Iowa, is that if you need money, let me call your dad.
Sure.
Because there's no way this kid would ask me for money unless his dad knew,
Yeah.
So just, if they call, say, let me call your dad and see, I'll let me check this out.
Use your resources.
And use a password. Otherwise, yeah.
Any other questions?
I keep having this thing come up about, oh, you're missing out on $1,300 a year of Medicare for food. Is that a real thing, or is that just a?
So again, that's a tactic they'll use of, hey, you could be getting X amount of dollars. Hey, you could be saving 15% on your mortgage, whatever it is. Make that contact. So if that's something that you're interested in pursuing, call Medicare, call whoever it is. We see that a lot. Some of them aren't. Some of these things are true, right? They're advertising for different services that are real, but make the contact. Yeah, don't click the link, just make it on your own.
Well, there was just something in the news, I think even yesterday, about someone who got a phone call and it sounded like their son. And AI can take snippets of your voice and put together things. So even if it kind of sounds like your grandson or somebody, check it out. Don't just believe what you hear.
Yep.
What about I hear on radio and TV where people are pretending that they're you and that they have sold your house and
So there is, and we don't talk about it a lot, but there is some scams where somehow they will like file a deed on your house or things like that, and then try and sell your house. We've had it a couple times where they've tried to rent a house. You see it a lot where if you're trying to sell your house, they'll take pictures from it, put up an ad on Craigslist like, hey, house for rent, and the rent should be, $1,500. They'll rent it for $700 on Craigslist, right? They'll get a check from somebody, that person will show up to move in, and someone's living there. So we have seen that. Some of those are more complex, like real estate scams. Those are also true,
Well, do you take the insurance off it, or, you live in Anoka County, Anoka County says there's no way somebody could do that without, you being there, but
Right.
does it happen?
I'm not aware of any specific instances that I know of within the county. I'm sure it's happened, but I guess I don't know of any specific examples. Yeah, I would talk to like your mortgage broker, whoever it is, just to ask them if there's some way to try and prevent that. Yeah, I don't know any specific examples, so.
All the information that you presented up here,
Mhm.
you have a number of websites and phone numbers and such that were listed. How can we gain access to that information? Do you have a paper copy or a
We
website that we
can
can contact?
probably print those last couple slides and give it to
We can send it
Pete.
we can send it to Pete or to Lynn and have them give it out. They recorded this, so this will also be on there somewhere on their website or something for the next couple of weeks. But I can get the resource slides and send them over to Lynn, and maybe she can figure out a way to get them out to you guys.
Hopefully the camera only got on the good side.
They kept adjusting it.
Okay, perfect.
And actually, we were all trying to figure out if we could hang something on the front.
I know, yeah.
You're pretty full.
Yeah, had quite a few tools here. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you giving us the time to come on.
Just FYI, there was 2 handouts. Please make sure you get them. There's great information on here for you to use. And then secondly, the question I thought was a fair question. What do you do? Should we think everything's a scam? We're going right back to our original statement. If you see something, say something. It might be that you call your friend, you might call another person that you have a relationship with and say, I just got this in the mail. And if you're really concerned about getting the good information, you call these people. Now, I see Coon Rapids came on up. Brad, who's the current sheriff, was the chief in Coon Rapids. I'll guarantee you the sheriff's office will have that. And that'll cover it. But I have not called all the local PDs. Call them. And if they don't have it going, then you might want to say, how come?
That's right.
Because you are paying them to protect you. It's a bond. I opened my statement today saying, we bonded and have a relationship with Anoka PD. And it's this kind of thing here. When we went to them and said, Father Bennett was receiving emails that said, I need money. Well, I called them and I said, I'm not gonna pay for your little red car, but do you need some money? And they were not aware that that was going on at first until the calls started coming. And so they can get that information pretty easy. And you know what? Every one of us, and Austin is so right, we want to be good. That's our pastor asking us. That's our deacon asking us. And what are we going to do? We're going to come to their aid. So with that, ask if you see something, say something, let us know what's going on. Let your police department know so that they can protect all of us. So with that, I want to just simply say thank you again to Anoka PD. I appreciate the time that you guys have. Can we give them one more round of applause? And thank you for your interest in this important subject. Yeah.
I would just like to reflect back on say something, do something, because we had something in our neighborhood, and I was working with Officer Kathy Youngquist, and we kept calling the whole neighborhood calling, but we felt like we were wasting our time. I finally sent a message to him and I said, we feel like we're just wasting our time with you guys coming and nothing's getting done. But it took over a year and he kept saying, it takes time, Donald, just be patient and call call, and, you know, we did, but we just felt like we were wasting our time, but in the end, we did, you guys pulled through it. So don't ever, and then people would say, aren't you afraid to call? Well, like, no, we're more afraid to live here than call, but so many people are afraid to make that call, but.
No, and
And
that's,
I say thank you for doing that, following through.
and that's something too, that unfortunately, sometimes the wheels of the criminal justice system don't spin.
That's exactly what he said, it's not
I just wanted to share this.
I think that's a point. Our Christian Stevens will not send you out a message from us. They'll only wait till you get somebody else and then.
Yeah, I wanted to share this. I have had my identity stolen, and they got $35,000.